Good afternoon. We will now resume our council session today on Tuesday, May 10th. We move on to item number 5, which is a public hearing. This is a public hearing regarding expedited bill 722, Fire and Rescue Services, credited service for Group G members. We have one speaker for this public hearing. Mr. Buttle, would you like to come forward, please? And Mr. Buttle is, of course, representing IAFF Local 1664.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. President and council members. Jeff Buttle on behalf of the Montgomery County Career Firefighters Association, the International Association of Firefighters, Local 1664, here testifying in support of this bill. As council may recall, this is part of the collective bargaining agreement that was transmitted by the executive earlier last month. It in part has already been taken up on the funding piece because there was a small fiscal note attached to it, but it also requires a change in the retirement law in order to enact it, and this piece of legislation would make that change. I will note that Ms. Wellens did identify a technical amendment that needs to be changed from the way it was originally drafted. That technical amendment does indeed reflect what it is that we bargained and reflects the original intent of the bill. So we would support that technical amendment that's in the package and encourage the council to move forward favorably on this piece of legislation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buttle. I know I speak for all of us in expressing our appreciation to you and your members for your leadership and your sacrifice and all that you do for us every day.
Thank you.
That is it for our public speakers for this public hearing, and so this public hearing is now closed.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Buttle.
Yep.
We move on to item number 6. This is a public hearing regarding expedited bill 822, Fire and Rescue Services, length of service awards, program for volunteers with amendments. A council work session will be scheduled for a future date. There are no speakers for this public hearing, and so this public hearing is now closed, which takes us on to item number 7. This is a public hearing in action. First, as a public hearing regarding supplemental appropriation number 22-69 to the county government's FY22 operating budget, Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service, in the amount of $1,937,314 for Senator Amos Fire Rescue and Ambulance Fund, State number 508, Grant, Source of Funds, State Grant. And there are no speakers for this public hearing, and so this public hearing is now closed. Can I get a motion to accept this supplemental appropriation?
So moved.
Moved by Council Member Katz, seconded by Council Member Friedson. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And that is unanimous among all of those present and virtual. We are just missing Councilmember Hucker. Okay, that moves us on to item number 8. Thank you. Ms. Nadeau, I'm going to ask you to kind of tee this one up. I'll just describe it at a very high level, and just by reading the notes on the paper here. But I know this has a little bit of background to it, and I want to make sure my colleagues are familiar with that background. We now move to the district council session, and this is a local amendment to H143 regarding 4910-4920 Strathmore Avenue in North Bethesda. Request for oral argument, and if oral argument is not granted, action on hearing examiner's report and recommendation. So colleagues, before us is either a yes or no vote. A yes would mean oral argument to be scheduled in June, and that is would be the end of the item today. A no vote would be an oral argument and then receive a summary of the examiner's report, and then we would need to take action on LMA H143 with a roll call vote, 5 affirmative votes to approve, report, and recommend. So that is before us today, yes or no. But if you could provide further background, Ms. Nadeau, we'd appreciate it.
Sure. So this is a case where I suppose a decision tree would be helpful. But this is local map amendment H143. The property is in Kensington, Maryland, and the proposal is to rezone it from its current R60 to CRN zone. And the proposed development is going to be 125 dwelling units with 15% MPDU and a residential care facility. But the issue before you that's first today is a request for oral argument was received. So the zoning code allows, after the hearing examiner issues their report and recommendation, any of the parties can request oral argument before the council, which we did receive in this case. And there are specific arguments that have to be listed in the oral argument. In this case, the person is arguing a lack of support for the finding that the proposed development will not detrimentally impact congested traffic conditions on Strathmore, failure of the application and evidence to prove that the rezoning will serve the goal of enhancing transit use in the county, and then recommendations to approve the rezoning rely on speculative future actions. So those are the arguments that the person requesting oral argument would put before you if that was granted. The other part of the process is that someone can also oppose the request for oral argument, which the applicant did in this case. So the applicant argued that the hearing examiner found the development complies with LATR guidelines, that the zoning ordinance doesn't require a finding that the rezoning will enhance transit use, that none of the speculative future actions are even required, and that opposition actively participated in proceedings before the hearing examiner. So the thing about our zoning ordinance is it does not actually list what the grounds for granting or denying the request would be. So council staff's recommendation is to grant the request for oral argument, hear the parties out, and then you will rule on the local map amendment that same day of the oral argument, which, as President Albro said, would be in June.
Okay. Are there questions or comments from colleagues? Hearing none. Councilmember Reamer.
Thank you for your summary, Levu. My understanding is that council has a generally, when someone petitions for oral argument, we generally grant it without really judgment as to the merits of the requests.
Yes, that is true. We checked some of the records, me and Mr. Robinson-Hannon, and in, I think you said, the 10 years you'd been here, the council had never denied a request for oral argument. I tried to think of examples of when you would. I think if the reasons were truly frivolous, like I just hate that neighbor, then that would be a reason to not grant oral argument. But since there are three pretty specific to the application reasons here, I think granting it would be fair.
And how long will it likely take the council for proceeding like this?
So because of the budget schedule, the oral argument could be scheduled for as soon as you're back in June. The council actually gets to set the time limit for how long the parties will speak. Usually it ranges from 5 to 10 minutes for each side. And after the oral arguments, you'd vote right then, and the resolution could also be signed that day.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So hearing no other questions or comments, then can I get a motion to can you articulate the motion? Just make sure, Ms. Nadeau.
Yeah, so it'd be to grant the request for oral argument, and you can do a hand vote.
Great. Moved by Councilmember Reamer. Seconded by Councilmember Hucker. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And that is unanimous. All right, we are ahead of schedule. So I assume that Mr. Lennon is not here. Is that correct? Okay. So then, colleagues, I apologize, but I think we're going to need to, he's not scheduled to be here till 2:30. So
We asked him to come at 1:50.
at 1:50, okay. So then why don't we recess until 2 o'clock? Yes? Oh, go ahead. Oh, yes, please. Thank you. Madam Clerk, yes, I know you have an announcement.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council President, Council Vice President, Council members. I failed to mention one announcement this morning, and for the record, I'd like to do that. All of the public hearings that were scheduled for May 17th are being moved to May 19th, 2022 at 1:30 p.m. The one I failed to mention this morning was a special appropriation to the county government's FY22 operating budget, WorkSource Montgomery non-departmental account, $3 million for COVID-19 workforce support programs, and an amendment to FY22 operating budget resolution 19872, section G, FY22 designation of entities for non-competitive contract award status, WorkSource Montgomery. So that public hearing will be held on the 19th at 1:30 as well. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. All right, colleagues, why don't we adjourn until 2? Oh, go ahead, Councilman Hooker.
I'd be grateful if I could be recorded in the affirmative for item 7. Item 7? Thank you.
Noted. All right, so we will recess until 2 o'clock, colleagues, but we get a half an hour earlier. So Yeah. Yes, please.
We are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for that brief recess. We will now move on to item number 9, and we do thank Mr. Lennon for being here early, so you score extra points. We will now begin our interview for the County Executive's appointment for Chief Digital Officer, Mr. Kenneth Lennon. Did you want to make any opening comments, Mr. Open?
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Lennon is interviewing for a position that was created maybe 2.5 years ago, and honestly has taken quite a while to find an individual that fits the gap that we have within the organization. Mr. Lennon is very strong in some of the technical and non-technical skills that we'll need to move forward to be successful in establishing and developing systems that meet the needs of our residents. So you'll hear more about him. Thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you so much. So we have 6 pre-prepared questions for you, and then my colleagues will have an opportunity after you answer all 6 questions either to follow up on one of those questions or ask a question of their own. But thank you so much. So the first question is, tell us about your background and qualifications and how they relate to the specific responsibilities in your role as Chief Digital Officer. As you will be working with many departments and offices, experience with multiple organizations and collaborative leadership are of particular interest to the Council.
Thank you. So my background started about 20 years ago as a graphic and web designer. After approximately about 8 years, I went to go get an MBA. With that combination of both business and design acumen, I use user experience as a catalyst for what I began to do. One thing about digital transformation is it's a component of multiple facets: UX, CX, business analysis, change management, and Lean Six Sigma. So what I plan to do is bring those capabilities to this role from the strategic point of view, from the conceptual point of view, and from the leadership point of view.
Thank you. Second question is, what do you view as current and emergent digital realities, opportunities, and threats, and how do you see these influencing your role as CDO with the responsibility of creating business success in Montgomery County? Preparing for the threat of cyber attacks and their impact on digital initiatives is of particular concern.
Thank you. So as you look at those digital and emerging realities, there's some common aspects of it from my perspective. Limited data in silos, unclear processes, and varying levels of organizational resistance or change management. The opportunities within there are collaboration to enable transformation, beginning a transformation from a citizens and stakeholder perspective. That's key. What you want to do is you want to combine 2 aspects in any type of overall experience. You want to combine the needs of the business with the needs of the citizen. You combine those to deliver an outcome. Typically that could be an initiative before it's an outcome, and then the actual results from that initiative. Some of the threats are resistance to change.
You gotta hit the button again. There you go.
Some of the aspects are resistance to change, and I plan to gather more insights using a human-centered approach. That human-centered approach deals with 5 to 6 aspects of basically understanding user empathy, defining the problem, ideating, that's the more collaborative aspect, which you can meet with people to do, and then you prototype and test if you're dealing with a product, but if it's dealing with a service, that's more change management. Then you implement, and then the final result is to measure, because it's an overall cyclical process.
Thank you. Third question is, how will you stay abreast of innovations, trends in digital practices and strategies, and digital government strategy planning to advise the county on IT governance and digital risk management?
So personally, I enjoy business and digital transformation. I just like to do it. I like to read about it. So some of the things I read are Harvard Business Review. I read I read IDEO, which is the methodology they use. Uses human-centered design. And I also study corporations like McKinsey who are strong in problem-solving methodologies to eventually get better as myself. So I like to learn from what I think is the best and try to continuously improve. I also think, once you get to a position like that, you're using a consistent method, but you always have to learn, because 10 years ago, people may not have used mobile devices. Now they do. So you have to be current, you have to be interested, you have to understand the citizens, and like I mentioned earlier, the internal stakeholders, and combine those together to make results.
Thank you. What issues will you cover as part of your focus on digital initiatives, and which of these will be your top priorities?
So the initial step is to learn and understand what the issues are. So that's where that empathy comes into place. I could assume what they are, but I don't know. So to learn what they are by understanding the stakeholder internally and the citizens. So that takes data research and a little bit of analysis together. But also looking at, who are the groups internally? How do they work? How do they operate? So you look at an organizational perspective first, at least I do. Understanding really how things operate to get to the core of a problem. And then from there, move forward to a solution.
Terrific. 2 more questions. If appointed, how would you position this role to work on racial equity and social justice issues? And more particularly, what ideas do you have that may identify and reduce digital equity realities in the county?
So first, I would like to begin with the context of the racial and social justice issue, because it could be pretty broad. Do we have data on some of that racial equity and social justice issue? What is driving the data and social justice issue? Is it a people, process, technology thing? Is it all of the above? And what is the impact to the business, and what is the impact to the citizen? And then from then, I plan on using a human-centered approach to begin resolving.
I like that. Finally, are there any potential conflicts of interest of which we should be aware?
No, there is not.
Terrific. Councilmember Rice?
Thank you very much, Council President, and welcome, Mr. Lennon, and thank you so much for your answers so far. I want to double down a little bit on digital equity, because I think that it's a really big opportunity for us here in this county. We've been very focused from racial equity and social justice lens in terms of inclusion of more of our residents in the technological space. It's the reason why we're opening the Ignite Hub this weekend. It's the reason why we've continued to double down on programs like Montgomery Can Code and others to get people more involved. But one of the realities is that modernization has the ability to build community trust or tear it down. What do you think some of the best methodologies are and approach to be able to ensure that modernization does not leave our communities of color behind?
I think it's really important to that first phase of empathy. So that first phase is understanding those users, that 80-20 rule that you hear a lot of times. Okay, we're talking about 80%, but what is the 20% and what are their problems? So as you build something, you might be hitting the 80% and leaving the 20% behind, but if you're aware of what that 20% is, you can build things to help them also.
Great answer. Councilmember Navarro, sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for those answers. So I really think that we have a lot of opportunities to connect the digital space to our goals around communication, engagement. We very much had a front seat, on the issues and the challenges with that during the pandemic. And in our committee, we've had these conversations about how do we begin to make those connections when we talk about, 311, or when we talk about using apps, for example. How can we make it, even you said, this issue of now everybody walks around with this. So how could we optimize the use of this so that people don't feel like they have to go through a number of doors to get to the service that they want and they need? What are some of the things that you see out there as opportunities, sort of low-hanging fruit, for us right now, this moment, to amplify that and to address in many ways the issues of equity, right? Because if everybody's using this and we make it more accessible, then you would conclude that, our diverse communities in the county then will have a lot more access to information. So what are some of those types of low-hanging fruits that you have been able to either identify or that you would like to work on to enhance what we already have in place?
I think to enhance what's already in place is to understand what's in place and what the problem is, what is being currently worked on. So, for example, I'll give you an example. My mother just turned 80, and she didn't know how to register for COVID. She's calling me. My father didn't know how to do it either. They went to the library, and the librarian helped them do it. But if you have a phone tree system that would enable someone of that age to be able to use the same process as a mobile device, then you can mitigate that age bracket. So depending on what that low-hanging fruit is, depending on what that age bracket is, depending on what that racial makeup is, that is the empathy part that we need to understand to be able to come up with the solutions that will help those that are in need, that may be left behind.
I just wanted to make a comment that we did implement a chat bot, which was used by our elderly residents to maneuver to get their vaccinations and to register. So those are the kind of things we want to continue to do, as you said, to meet that 20%, and really understanding. And it has taken a while for me to understand the population, what that consists of, the diversity of the county. I think it is an onboarding need for professionals coming into the county. We are beginning a onboarding process for new employees like Kenneth to have a better understanding of who we serve.
I appreciate that, and I know Dr. Torregas is always pushing us to think even, further and further ahead. But no doubt, to me, the pandemic really has shown us firsthand the opportunities, but also the areas where we, didn't have those gaps. And I know that I always looked at this position as an opportunity to bridge this work with, again, our communications office or, our outreach folks out there, or because it is embedded. I mean, everything now, in many ways, we live in a digital world. I mean, it's just where we are. Our young people are already occupying those spaces. This is how they live, really. They consume the information, they seek the information, they do, all of their business adventures. And when we all had to go virtual, I mean, absolutely, we had to learn and adapt. And so I think that opens up an extraordinary opportunity for us to utilize this kind of position to make those bridges and really get us to meet the moment. Because, if not, we're just kind of trying to catch up. So I'm very excited about, that opportunity to see where we can innovate, but also catch up to where this pandemic has taken us in a county of this size.
Yes. Agreed.
Great. Well, I see no other questions or comments from colleagues, so thank you so much, Mr. Lennon. We appreciate you coming forward today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We look forward to voting on your nomination. Before we adjourn, colleagues, Councilmember Rice requested a point of privilege to share with us some updates based on some information he has recently received that will really benefit the county as a whole. Councilmember Rice.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President, and to all of my colleagues, and more importantly, for the folks that may be watching at home. It is really important for us to understand that the absence of reliable high-speed internet has become a major barrier to socioeconomic opportunity, as well as education, health, and overall quality of life. On Monday, I was privileged to attend an announcement with the President and Vice President that launched getinternet.gov. Again, that's getinternet.gov, a centralized website that details how residents across America can sign up for the Affordable Connectivity Program. This program entitles many of our residents who are on different sorts of public assistance to be able to achieve low-cost, high-speed, reliable internet service. Over 20 large providers have partnered with the Biden-Harris administration to make sure that minimum speeds of 100 megabits per second download as well as upload are provided at an affordable cost, $30 per month. This typically would run roughly in some of our major metropolitan areas in the $80 to $100 per month range. This is transformative. This is something that we in our community have been asking for so long. This is going to make a tremendous difference in bridging the digital divide, something that we know is incredibly important as we continue to provide opportunities for our children and our workforce to continue to be empowered in this technological age. And so I really want to thank you for allowing me to just make sure that our constituents know just how important this is. Again, it's getinternet.gov. Please, all of our constituents that are eligible, sign up for this incredible program and take advantage of the connectivity that you're going to have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Rice, and thank you for representing us so ably on that important effort nationally. So with that, colleagues, we are adjourned.